stuck who your opponent meant, a man in the mirror.
Welcome to Stuck the World, where we just coming to stimulate some conversations. Today, we're gonna talk about cheating. Cheating is basically really painful. It's a sign of betrayal in your relationship, depending on your agreed upon rules or regulations in your relationship. So first, we'll talk about the validation of the ego. So I want to speak from a man's point of view. I don't really want to speak about women in regards to this because I'm not a woman, but I would like to talk about the validation of the ego in regards to men. I think a lot of men, we have a lot of trauma based off generational trauma. So we go about cheating in a way to seek validation, right? I think men get bored, and I think in relationships that are long term, if things are redundant and they're not mindful of like how to love their partner, I think they go out and they seek it in other ways. I think at that point it's an ego thing. It's like a point system. Like back in the days when people used to talk about like how many bodies you got, like how many partners do you have. It was more of a braggadocious thing. I don't want to say back in the day, but it was more so for like kids, right? Kids used to talk about those kind of things. So I think you look for those feelings elsewhere when you cheat as a man, right? Especially if it's because of the ego invalid, right? Another thing is the emotional disconnection. Now, when I did some research, I was seeing that a lot of women cheat based off emotional neglect, but I guess based off surveys and based off a lot of research that a lot of men are now starting to cheat because of emotional neglect. I think as time goes on, I think the more we kind of like broaden our horizons on like how we do research and not just kind of sticking it to one school of thought, I think that we'll start to see a lot of different reasons on why people cheat. Some men really don't know how to like express their emotions, so they cheat, right? I've been a cheater before. I'm in a relationship right now. I'm actually married right now, and ever since I became married, I haven't cheated. But in this same relationship, I have done my partner wrong, and we're getting past that, right? And I don't want to say like I'm this perfect guy. Like I don't think anybody should try to claim that nature, especially if you've been a cheater. If you've done things to your partner that's in a way that's not braggadocious, like I think you should always look for within yourself. That's why I come on here and I'm talking about mindfulness, meditation, things of that nature, consuming healthy media, right? I'm one of those people that I'm constantly on World Star, and I don't think it helps my mind, right? Like it gives me the wrong ideas of what life is like, and it messes with my emotions, right? So if I see a man walk in on his wife cheating on him, and I have a fragile mind, right? I grew up in a way of I wasn't very motivated. There wasn't a lot of positive energy, right? So a lot of the negative energy things that I run into, I feel like I deserve, and that's one of those emotional disconnections that I feel is what I kind of go through, right? Like I feel these emotional disconnections. So now instead of me cheating, I just kind of shut down. I might get quiet. My wife would even be like, what happened? What's wrong? Like, and I'm just like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to do none of that. So I just get into this little bubble of probably what I used to do when I was a kid. Like I said, based on this channel, I like to base everything based off the past, based off when you were a kid. Your upbringing is basically how you figure out what your issues are. So I'm still a work in progress. Like I said, I made this channel for us to stimulate some conversations, you know what I mean? So another thing is temptation and opportunity. I would say that I'm not really this type of cheater. When I was a cheater, temptation and opportunity. I think cheating comes with a lot of energy. I think once you become mindful in why you do cheat, I think you'll start to notice a lot of energy being exhausted to either hide it. And I think there's different things about it, right? I think if you try to hide it, that means that you have a conscience, right? That means that you're not like this crazy person that's like just cheating and you don't care what nobody thinks. If you're hiding it, that means you care what somebody thinks. And then I think there's the people who cheat and they don't care. I think those are the people that's just like, you don't need to be in a relationship. I think both shouldn't be in a relationship, but I think if you just don't care, then why bring somebody else in it if you just kind of purposely cheat? I would say the temptations and the opportunities. There's a lot of energy being exerted and exhausted. See, me, what I did is, when I was a kid, I had a goal. Like, I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have the white picket fence. Like, I wanted to, I wanted to have a wife. But as I grew up and the things that I ran into in the environment that I was, the culture that kind of builds black and brown kids. And when I say black and brown, I just don't like to use the word black because it negates color. So I like to use the word brown. Like, my skin is brown. I lost a lot of hope, and it's sad, right? I think it's really sad when children start to lose hope because of their environment. And I think that's a lot of people that kind of that go through the things that I went through. So after going through those things, I kind of just lost all hope in regards to like what love was. Every relationship I kind of got into, even though I started to kind of get into girls really early because of the sex exposure at an early age, it messed up my mind mentally. So I would say that pay attention to your temptations and pay attention to the opportunities that you take. I wanted to have kids. I wanted to have kids because I wanted to find and have something or someone to love unconditionally no matter what they did. And when I was a kid, I made myself a promise that my children would be the people that I love unconditionally no matter what they do. Now, obviously, depending on circumstances, and you can be in any kind of situation with your kids, but I will not try to pass judgment to my kids no matter what. And I want to always try to keep the environment as positive as possible in regards to my kids, so they don't grow up with those mental barriers of what they can and cannot do and what they feel like they need to do to validate themselves. I would say, just to go into more, I would say based off how you grew up, is poor relationship models, right? If cheating is normalized in childhood or seen as something that all men do, that mindset can carry over into the adulthood, which is interesting because when I was a kid, the only men that I seen, that's a lie, okay, the men around me, and this is what I don't project on my children, that whole, man, you handsome, you gonna have all the girls. Why are you telling a 5-year-old this? Why are you telling a 6, 7-year-old this? Like, I know this is the playful shit of the culture, and people, if they hear this, they gonna be like, yo, this dude's a lame, like, what is he talking about? But you gotta pay attention to the psychological things that we talk about, right? People say that the brain is a sponge. It continues to be a sponge. It's not just when you were a kid. You just take up way more information when you're a child. But when you're an adult, you kind of get set in your ways and you take in information and you alter it for how you want it to be. So when I say that, it's just, my stepdad cheated. I walked in on him doing things on my mom's sofa where he don't pay no rent and he don't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things that I ran into was just this degradation, this degraded way of treating women. And I think in my body and in my mind, I wanted to be a good kid. I remember it so vividly. I think the trauma kind of wakes up kids, right? If you go through some type of trauma when you're young, I think you kind of wake up. You kind of, not that you grow up fast, but you kind of pay attention more than most kids do. Most kids, they curious, they having fun, they trip and fall, they get up, they go. They don't think about how they tripped and fall a couple weeks later, how we kind of think about those kind of things. So I think as a man, right, if you have kids, don't cheat in front of your kids, right? If you want them to be mentally stable, don't have them see you engaging in all these different relationships that are empty calories, because then they're going to do the same thing, and then they're going to wonder why they stressed. And then if they don't have a mentor or somebody in their corner to really teach them, like, hey, that's not the way, this is how you do it, this is, you pray, you meditate, if you have a wife, you have a woman, and this is kind of going the religious route, right? But if you have a wife, you have a woman, like, make sure everything is agreed upon, right? So moving on from that, I would say avoiding accountability, right? Some just aren't ready for the responsibility to be in a committed relationship. I would say that this was probably me in a sense. I think since I had a rough upbringing in regards to being a child, I figured that I never wanted to get married. I thought having kids was be married. I wasn't ever going to be that guy that had multiple kids everywhere. Like, that was never my goal. My goal was that if me and a woman lay down and we have children, that's going to be my wife, no matter if I propose to her or I don't. Like, that's the responsibility that I've taken on, and I will not be away from my kids. That's just kind of not my goal. My dad wasn't in my life at all, like at all. Like I'm talking about, like, and then you start to realize certain things, right? I'm going through violence in the house. I call my pops because this the only person that I feel like I can reach out to. My grandfather was in the Olympics, man. I'm not calling him to do nothing wrong. You know what I'm saying? Call my dad. There's nothing going on. There's no help. There's no, you can come move with me, come stay with me, I come get you, whoop. Like, I don't need you to fight my battles, even though I'm 10, 11 fighting a grown ass man, but nigga, help me, you feel me? So what I would say is avoiding that accountability, right? Like, if this is how you are, man, you gotta figure out ways to fix it. Don't bring nobody else in your life if you ain't got your ducks in a row. And I feel like a lot of men go through that, and I feel like depending on your partner will go through it with you. But I think in this day and time, people don't want to help nobody no more unless you get in the bag. It's a very transactional culture we live in. So just to kind of buckle down, man, if you a cheater and it's not agreed upon to cheat, figure out ways on how not to cheat. Figure out ways to be a better man, right? The goal, I think your goal as a man, number one goal is to be a better man, right? So that could be financially, mentally, any type of way, but make sure that your goal is to be a better man. And just remember, man, cheating is a choice, right? Nobody's forcing you to cheat. When you start to break your life down into increments, into deep breaths, a lot of cheating is not gonna happen. Because right now, like with me, a lot of energy is to be exerted when you have multiple relationships. I can't even really be normal with my lady if I've been cheating on her. So like, if I done went and did some things based off cheating, and then I come back to my lady, I can't even look her in the eye. And that's just because what I've learned is I'm not a psychopath. I'm not a sociopath. Like, I know I did something wrong. My conscience is eating at me. So it's like, why would you put your soul through that torment, right? So if this spoke to you, man, share it, man, comment below, and follow for more real conversations about love, trust, and self-growth, and behavior analytics. Welcome to Stuck the World. Peace.
Stuck who your opponent, man, the man in the mirror.